Hello, привет, whatever we have to say. This week, well, this week, oh, by the way, I got a green screen. So now I am going to, where is everyone? Can you guys hear me? What's going on? Okay. I got a green screen. So every week we're gonna put a Lenin statue and you're gonna figure out, it'll be like, where's Waldo, but where's Lenin? So who wants to, I'm gonna give a prize to somebody who gets it right. And I'll figure out a way. Oh, we can do polls in something. I forgot. Oh, on YouTube. Yeah. We're gonna do polls, and then you're gonna guess where's Lenin, and where is everybody? I don't see anybody on stream. Okay, whatever. Yeah, okay. So usually I see a lot of commenters, but then today I have not, and whatever. Okay. Well, I'm sure you guys will come later, but this is gonna be fun. Where's Lenin? Okay, I see John. Okay, excellent. Okay. Phew. So we have one mod to stop people from trolling, thank God. Okay. So with that, I got banned from Twitter for 12 hours for saying that not enough Nazis were killed. So you guys are going to have to share this stream on Twitter right now. So I'll just wait for like 30 seconds because I can't. Oh, and then I got banned from TikTok for a whole week for putting up a completely accurate video about the Ustazi, and it did not even have any Nazi symbols. All it said was that the reason why the Ustazi was able to do so much genocide is because they had the complete cooperation of the Catholic Church. And there's nothing controversial. Like Croatians were like, yeah, she shouldn't get banned. It's real. So if you want to help me out, please tweet to TikTok support and bug them a little and say that this is unfair, that history accounts who put like the most accurate history are getting banned. But this week, this is one of my absolute favorite Lenin pieces because we should like literally play this every time somebody horrible dies because Lenin gets it. Like, I hate the eulogies. They whitewash them. And the thing about it is that because they are famous people, and this is like the last thing people are going to Google, it like goes into historical record and you don't understand how horrible these people are. So apparently Lenin had to deal with the same exact thing, but with a slave owner named Count Hayden. So we laugh because it's literally the same exact thing and the funny thing is he calls them drawing room Democrats. And by the way, I have a form. So we are seeking bad Rumsfeld eulogy takes. At the end of this day, we will basically what will we do? At the end of the day, we will basically send, at the end of the session, we will read this. And so feel free to fill this form out of any bad takes, any horrible takes. So, and I'm very excited. So our guest is Pat Cote with a small cameo by Steph Zamorano. It's kind of funny because when we first read this piece with Steph, Rumsfeld had not died yet. So she used McCain. And so it just goes to show you, it went from Count Hayden to McCain to Rumsfeld to okay. Oh, Janet, do you want to do the worst takes that you found first?
Yeah. So these are the ones that I have found so far. So
you should read it to me because I can't see.
Yeah. So the first one is from MSNBC. It says, former Defense Secretary Rumsfeld remembered for overseeing wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Overseeing, my God, okay, yes, overseeing is like yes, he oversaw the war crimes, you see my video on Iraq that YouTube lets me put I will link this here when the time comes, right? But YouTube will let me link it, but TikTok did not because it's so graphic. In fact, there is a Twitter's site called F Defects, Fallujah Defects. My God, I hate these people. Okay.
All right. So the next one I found was from The Hill. It says, "How Donald Rumsfeld helped save the presidency."
That is not a good thing because Bush was in the top 5 of the worst. I don't know if Bush was worse than Reagan, Ronald Reagan. How do you pronounce that guy's name? I can never figure it out.
Reagan?
Reagan. Okay, Reagan. I always call it Reagan. I don't know why. Ronald Reagan. Bush was very close to being the worst, if not the worst, with Ronald Reagan, like tied. And saving that presidency should be spun as like, this is why you're gonna be in hell, you mofo.
All right, so the next one, this was an opinion piece. Donald Rumsfeld, he was a remarkable man whose lessons I will never forget. That was from his speechwriter.
Okay, that sounds like remarkable. Okay, that sounds actually like a perfect segue into okay. Is Pat's name pronounced like Cote, or is it no? It's pronounced
it's
Cote.
Cody.
Cody.
Yeah,
I pronounced it wrong.
You said it with the S. You said that you were gonna say it with the S, and I didn't correct you because we get names wrong here all the time. So.
Well, yeah, I got Ronald Reagan's name just wrong like a minute ago. Reagan, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna learn how to pronounce his name. Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan. Okay, got it.
All right. If you can't get Reagan right, I don't know how they think that you're gonna get every other name right.
What?
I said if you can't get Reagan right, I don't know why they would think that you could get Pat's name right.
Well, I mean, I don't know why, but I've always called him Reagan or something like that, and I don't understand why I called him Reagan instead of Ronald Reagan.
Well, because it's A-N, so probably just
okay.
Pronunciation of it. Do you want to see the other two, or do you want me to hold off the other two to the end?
No, let's do the other two.
Okay.
Let's put this back up when Lenin makes fun of Tavarish, like just a little. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So then this one was from The Hill too, and this was what George W. Bush said. He said, on Rumsfeld's death, "We mourn an exemplary public servant." And I have to say, the funny thing is, I couldn't find a tweet from Biden or Hillary Clinton or Obama on Rumsfeld.
Because I think they are afraid of us Twitter trolls enough to not tweet something out because they understand the war criminal.
Yeah, I feel like more
trolled for McCain enough that they're scared to tweet this out.
I feel like more is going to come out during his funeral is what I feel like.
Oh God, when is his funeral?
I tried to look up that and I couldn't find that quickly last night. I didn't like deep dive into it. I just
okay.
I Googled it and it didn't come up like a date or anything, so I don't know.
Okay.
Right. So that was George.
It would be awesome to see Rumsfeld. Okay, I just always imagine like Stalin, Lenin, Nehru, Mao, Castro, Che are all in heaven, and Rumsfeld, they're laughing at Rumsfeld, who's going to be burning in hell.
So this one was the one that you actually gave me from The Independent. Donald Rumsfeld, a cunning leader undermined by Iraq war.
Undermined by Iraq. Oh my God. Undermined. Like his war crimes, like he was undermined by his own war crimes. Jesus Christ.
So those are the ones that I had come up with. So
okay.
All right.
So please invite all your friends, family, enemies, everyone, because this is like going to be a great episode. This is actually literally my favorite Lenin piece ever.
Yes, and we put the link for the Airtable. So yeah, so you can send more in if you want. So all right. So
okay, yep. With that, without any further ado,
what can we go?
We begin with Pat Cote.
Okay.
Hello, I don't like this greeting. I'll figure out what the appropriate non-dumb greeting is. Okay. So today we have Pat, who came to fame with his 2016 Peter Douche account. And Peter Douche just rendered your, oh, fuck, I'm so sorry. Peter Dow rendered your Peter Douche account. Like, what did he do? What happened there?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Lovely to see you guys. I love the show and big fan of you both. So, he saw the light and had this come to Jesus moment and became a progressive.
I know. I like today, like Peter Dow of today, I would not have in 2016. He was such a neoliberal shill. Like, it's like so hard for me to like add two and two together.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like, imagine if Neera Tanden tomorrow was like pro Bernie, pro Medicare for all, and actually meant it. But, I mean, it took forever for me to actually believe that Peter Dow's transition was real, but he's paid his dues. I mean,
I would love to have him on. So if you guys can make people who are watching, go bug him and get him on the show. Okay.
Yes. And then I will, a sneak appearance would be lovely. I would just,
that would be great. It'll be like reuniting Peter Douche with Peter Dow. That would be so amazing.
I wouldn't want to ambush him. And we've sort of tried to set this up, but there's been no serious effort, but okay. I would love to talk to him. He followed me at one point and then he gave that up, but he was following me. He unblocked me and followed, and we had some discourse even.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Well, so if you guys can, I would love to host the Peter Dow Pat reunion. It'll be amazing. So you guys we have Pat, we know how to get to Pat, but we need to find a way to get to Peter Dow. I know you guys can make it happen. So you also wrote 2 books. Can you tell us about the books you wrote?
So the first one was speaking of Peter Dow, it was An Inconvenient Douche by Peter Douche.
Yeah.
Which was in character as Peter Dow, and basically ran over all the 2016 stuff. I mean, I don't want to relitigate all the 2016 stuff, but it told the story as if Peter Dow was telling it about what was happening, who were the up and coming stars in the party. It was just, he was a perfect vehicle to show how hypocritical the establishment is, really. So and the propaganda piece with the media, that's where he fit into it.
They're collaborate. Like, actually, it's kind of funny. That's how I got into Lenin a lot more than I had, because the 2016 election was frustrating me. And then when I opened up any Lenin piece and he was talking about the Cadet Constitutional Democratic Party, Cadet Party, it felt just like talking about the Democratic Party. I was like, oh. So then I understand, it's a systemic thing and the media is in collusion because that's what capital wants. It's like what made me make that connection. Do you agree?
Yeah. And I can't say that I've read a lot of Lenin, so I'm looking
But do you agree that the reason why the media and the Democratic Party is the way it is because that's what capital wants?
Oh, absolutely. Our whole system is set up to protect capital. I mean, the media will never, they might on social issues lean Democratic because there's no cost to them to support the correct social issues. Sometimes, in some ways, but sometimes, yes. But financial issues, both parties are very similar. What they do with our budget doesn't change if it's left or right, really. By everything budget is always bipartisan, and that's because capital is going to be protected. They're going to create loopholes for all their business buddies and the corporate interests. And so, yeah. 100%.
I think you're the one who first made this meme about what I think you started with what Hillary, and then you said Democrats, what Hillary gets done. Well, something about working and then it's war. There's war, bipartisanship. It's war. What else did you say? I forgot.
I don't know if that was me, but I mean, yeah.
It was about your book did have something about bipartisanship. It was war, Wall Street bailouts, and something else. I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, where they agree on war, they agree on funding the military because
that's it. The interest. That's what you did with your book.
I mean, anything that doesn't affect our lives in a positive way, they agree on. Okay. And if it's protecting capital, they got it. Yeah.
I loved it made me laugh a lot. In 2016, my mom got the hard copy and I downloaded the Kindle version.
Nice.
She laughed a lot too. She got your autograph.
I wrote it thinking, okay, I don't really want to be super on the attack with the book. Like, I wanted it to be approachable for people that didn't agree with us somewhat, just to show how hypocritical things were. So I did have a few centrist folks that actually enjoyed it, even if they disagreed on stuff. So that was the idea.
Oh, what about the second book you wrote with Joy?
So the second one was a different concept. It was Yes Queen.
Yes.
Oh,
that was hilarious.
Is the Yes Queen Chronicles. And the idea was that there was a public forum with a lot of, classic shit libs. You got the media mixed with people like Nancy Pelosi, Nancy Pegosi, Joanne Reed, Alyssa Shalano. But the idea was, they're just, by having this public forum and discussing things and never having really a view that disagreed with them, you could expose how ridiculous they were. So the only protagonist in the book is Nina Turner, who you have to read the book, but
it was great.
She sits, they mute her and cut her mic and do all these things. and then finally she has her say in the end, and it's a hallelujah moment, of course, but that's the book. So, and the idea to me is to, if the media was exposing what's really happening, none of this could happen. It couldn't happen if the media exposed it. So it's always important to me to show that connection.
Yeah, let me give you I'm just going to give a connection, because I was busy transcribing this video off the top of my head. But with how Biden's all like NATO awesome, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, I transcribed a video where the pro-democracy forces in Ukraine were literally singing chants to first Bandera, who is his own fascist, and then there were some Adolf Hitler signage there too. And so the media should be asking, why is the U.S. government supporting these troops that are glorifying Hitler? Boom. But they will. It's an easy thing because the video is right there. They won't, because they want the war. They want the Cold War with Russia, China. That was just the one. Right. There are hundreds and thousands of examples of an easy thing to raise, make it happen if they were to. Jen Psaki once, remember when she was like, the U.S. does not have the habit of overthrowing governments in Latin America. And I'm like, the press corps actually laughed at that.
Yeah, because anyone who's followed history, aside from what you actually read in the books, knows that we've sent economic hitmen to all these countries to put their whole country in, they're beholden to us. We raise up a dictator who's terrible. He's corrupt. He takes all the money that we give him to get into power. And then immediately the country is beholden to us, even though that dictator is ousted.
Yeah.
And then what do they owe us the gold, the oil, the whatever, and that's our formula. And I forget who wrote the book, but there's a book on economic hitmen.
Yeah. Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins.
Yep. You got it.
That was one of my favorite because it shows you it's basically shows you what the U.S. does in almost now it's expanded since he's written the book, because that was primarily in Latin America. Right. And now it's just in the middle, they've expanded to many more countries is what I'm going to guess.
Yeah. But I wanted to say something since you're on this topic. The media. So there's the argument that people that are, apologists for our media not covering this stuff is that it's boring to people. It's not sensational, but look at all the sensational stories like the Nazi stuff, or in West Virginia, the West Virginia Democratic Party being overtly racist, excluding the black people of color from the affirmative action, any input on the affirmative action plan that they were mandated to put in place 40 years ago. Yes. And then they cut their mics. So that's sensational stuff. So you can't say it's ratings that exclude them from talking about this stuff, because those are clear ratings grabs if they want to cover these stories. So they choose to not to.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago in this very program, we interviewed a Lithuanian Jewish man who tore down a Nazi statue, and he got tortured by the Lithuanian police, and they force-fed him pork because he was Jewish. That's a very sensational story, but he's not a pro-democracy dissident. So they'll never, like, I'm covering him and Meadows not, but Meadows like, and then, right. The funniest thing is like the in neighboring Belarus, you have an absolute fascist who is not a pro-democracy dissident. And Meadows like all crying about it. Like you see, oh, Meadows tears that. Oh my God. Like Russiagate, can you explain what the hell is going, like, why did they start that? It felt crazy to start a Cold War like that. Explain Russiagate.
So, I mean, Russiagate essentially, it's stuff that's been happening forever. Like we spy on them. We try to hack them. We've done that in a million other countries, whatever. So aside from what we're doing, why Russiagate becomes a thing, I hate to refer to Noam Chomsky, but like manufacturing consent is real. So, if you want to silence people who are upset about policies, like our international relations policies, our even, Medicare for all.
Or minimum wage that has it does not take 10 years to get $15 or more.
Right. The idea is you need a boogeyman. Once you have a boogeyman, everything can be leveraged to that. Like, anyone who's pushing for Medicare for all too much and critical of the current government, well, they are, in some ways colluding with Russia. There's the Russiagate connection, but you need the foreign government. You need a boogeyman of some sort, and it becomes Russiagate, it goes back to, how long have we been using Russia as the scapegoat?
Probably 100 years now or more.
100 years. So it's like the easiest, lowest hanging fruit. And we should know better at this point not to believe our government when they use this stuff. And it's not like, of course, Russia's trying to hack into our elections and our government systems. It's just spy shit. It always happens, and this is not to diminish efforts to stop that, but it's something they can pull as a card anytime they want. And they've used it incessantly for years.
Yeah. And it's like the worst is when they, so Russiagate to me, like exposed the fakers from the real people. Like, for example, the WikiLeaks leaks of the Podesta emails. Well, what it revealed to us was that the media was in collusion, was the arm of the Hillary Clinton campaign, and did everything and possible, as Lenin would say, everything possible and impossible to deny us our democratic will. We could not, there was no, like, basically in 2016, Hillary more or less lost a rigged election. And instead of that, right, like they were like, what if Russia like hacked into Podesta's emails and gave it to it? Well, thank God for that. Like, it doesn't matter who gave them that. It's that we need to find out the way that we don't have a media, we don't have any, like, everything was the arm of the Hillary Clinton campaign, right?
Absolutely. The Podesta emails exposed the biggest thing to me was that Hillary's plan was to have the media the Pied Piper strategy, which was to have the media prop up three people that they thought were the easiest targets because they were the most radical people. And so those are the three. Question.
Who was it besides the Trump? Who was it besides? I don't remember the other two. You remember?
Ben Carson and Ted Cruz.
Oh, I did not know that.
But so who were the final three Republicans?
Ted Cruz and Trump.
Ben Carson and Ted Cruz.
Oh my God. I did not know that.
So, yeah. So, you can't map it out any clearer in my mind. You could say, okay, the media wasn't in collusion, but Hillary was just so successful. Either way, it was clearly written that the plan was there for those three people to fight against, and then you can't beat them. And the idea wasn't malicious in itself. The idea was, they really truly thought if we get these crazy nutsos on the right, they'll be easier to beat. But don't do that if you can't beat them.
Yeah, they can't, because
we're all suffering we suffered 4 years from that plan.
Or yeah, like I said, yeah, she played dice with the world. I mean, that was, you have a country that, like, for her own, to me, that's what it still makes me angry, because she played dice with the world for her personal ambition. Who knows? Like, if Trump put that, like, thank God that the president is constrained by capital or whatever. This is the only time I'll say this, that he didn't like nuke somebody over, like, thank God for that every single day. But if he's that crazy, you do not, it's like I was horrified at that.
Yeah. And I mean, that clearly should be something the media couldn't cover all that stuff because it all exposed that they were a part of it.
Yeah. But
that's a ratings story. Like, you can't say the ratings aren't there to show that Hillary's campaign propped up these folks that ended up our actual president. I mean, one of them became our actual president, and it was her plan to make him the Republican nominee. You would think that'd be an interesting story for people.
Yeah, exactly. And another, I've written an article about, obviously, the Citibank president, and how Holder way back then said, 1999, said that there were some banks that were too big to jail. No, too big to fail, or I forgot what he said. But then Citibank picked him to be the attorney general, who believed that they were too big to fail and too big to jail. And it's like, so that part was horrific. But but as AG, he had a choice of what to do, Eric Holder, of what to do with all the foreclosed homes as a consequence of all that stuff. And he gave them back to the banks, basically. So, that was their payout. He could have created programs to give them back to some of these people that lost their homes. Yeah. You could just have a more, when you're president, you could be like, no more foreclosing homes, moratorium, boom. And so I heard that you have a new podcast debuting tonight.
Well, so we launched it last week, and we're shooting our second one tonight. Starting next week, we're probably going to do it live, because I think we're trying to have a really casual kind of show. So I think it's better suited for a live audience. But
so it's called Punch Up, right?
Punch Up Pod. And the idea is that, we don't want to be a podcast about other podcasts. We don't want to get into Twitter wars. We don't want to attack other leftists that we disagree with. We want to attack the people who have power to actually affect change. And it's not Twitter people. It's not YouTubers. It's not, so, and we also want to have some fun. We want to have some positivity every show about, like, something people could do in their local community or some organization we like. We're going to add a little piece of that to every show. We sucked last week because this is new to us, but we're working on it. And as far as getting to all the elements, we're
by the way, who is we?
Oh, I'm sorry. Lila Charles Lay.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. I was on her show a few times, and I think we just align politically very well, even that we'll disagree on stuff. But I think I'm a low energy guy, so I need someone a little more razzle dazzle. So we kind of balance off pretty well, I think. So.
Okay. Well, one thing I'm going to say is Lenin would approve. If we had not already read this piece with Tina, we would have read Where to Begin with you now. But that's exactly what Lenin said to do. The press is not only. Let me just read that one quote for you, because this is exactly what Lenin wants you to do. And since Lenin is a winner and we only follow winners and not losers, good job on the setting a good example. But let me just read this quote. Because the left needs to learn from winners and not losers, and understand that the mainstream press is going to tell you anyone who's on the left who's a winner, they're going to try to smear them, as they did with Bernie, right? As nefarious. Do you want to go through some of those? Just a quick second.
I mean, what they did to Bernie?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah, no. Okay. So they try to smear anyone with Bernie. Didn't they try to? Okay. So let me get this quote I found. Gotcha. Okay. So hold on one second. Press Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is what Lenin said. A newspaper is not only a collective propagandist and a collective agitator, but it is also a collective organizer. In this last respect, it may be likened to a scaffolding round a building under constructions, which mark the contours of the structures and facilitates communication between the builders, enabling them to distribute the work and view the common results achieved by their organizing labor. So that's how we did a revolution. And if we want to do a political revolution, we definitely need this is like you listed all the things that he told you to do, like newspaper as an agitator, organizer, like local things to do, issues, punching up. And that's
right.
And today's, okay, well, the newspaper was cool for 1900. Podcasts are the new newspapers, right?
I mean, essentially, and you know, as divisive and as much bullshit as there is on Twitter, it is the public square in a sense. So we have the potential there to get a message out like never before, you know, because, okay, your podcast, you know, maybe you get 1,000 people to watch your show. We need millions of people to get this message out. So, I mean, collectively between all the podcasts and people on the left sharing the same message and not the same, but, you know, pushing for the same agenda in a lot of ways. It's absolutely important because we, you know, if there's one thing we learned from Bernie's campaign, it's like they still control too much of the media. Capital still controls too much of the media because they were essentially able to take Bernie, who was in the lead, looking pretty good.
You're talking about 2020, right? Just to clarify.
I'm talking about 2020. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, in 2020. And they created this narrative a week before South Carolina that everything depended on South Carolina. That Biden was going to have his comeback, and then they created this panic situation on the press. The entire press in that 4 or 5 days run up to South Carolina scared the hell out of everybody. So our normal people that thought Bernie, they agreed with Bernie, they were probably going to vote for Bernie. They were in panic mode. They were like, holy shit. The press keeps saying Bernie won't beat Trump. Bernie won't beat Trump. They hammered that message for 4 or 5 days. Bernie won't beat Trump. Bernie won't beat Trump. And it worked. You know,
yes,
it essentially worked. And, you know, Bernie was always going to lose South Carolina. It was baked into the equation for his team because, you know, we just knew that was going to happen. They're a Democratic state, but they're very old right school wing. Democratic. They're Bible Belt.
Yeah. Very right wing state.
Yeah. They're very Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton Democrats. And, you know, very corrupt government there. You got Clyburn out there pushing. So anyway, the point is the media it showed how much media power really overcomes all of our messages and all these other forums right now. Like we have to take what we've done here and double it because they took in just a matter of less than a week, they spun it all on its head and we lost.
You know, exactly that. And the funny thing is that, like, I'm going to bring this back to that's exactly why I started Sundays with Lenin. It's because Lenin's success, like they did the same, like, that's why he, like in all his like pieces, like half of it's exact, like you can see, like, I am overwhelmed in detail in explaining like how similar it is. But for example, one example is that Lenin, we spoke about was regarding, we still hear it 100 years later about like how the Bolsheviks, I don't know, killed a few white guards, which is like a KKK. But then you don't realize that they killed 100,000 Bolsheviks, and the Bolsheviks only killed 300,000. But you never heard about the 100,000 because they were poor slaves, while these 300,000 were rich people in the West. And so it's the same way. The media is almost like the U.S. media, New York Times often is like the press representative of the rich people often.
Right. I mean, take what was the endorsement thing with Bernie where they were trying to get his endorsement?
Whose endorsement?
I think it was the New York Times where they had the video and Bernie said, you know, frankly, I don't give a shit or something like that. Yeah. Which was a great moment. But seeing how they they expected these people to suck up to them for capital. I mean, it's just outrageous because they know the power they have, you know, like they really do. They understand that we are holding a losing hand at this point. You know, that's the only way they can get Biden through, you know.
Well, for me, what shocked me is how, the first thing was Obama came and got everyone to drop out. Like Pete dropped out, Elizabeth Warren, like every single person obediently dropped out and endorsed Biden. And then except for Warren. Warren stayed in because she was the only one pulling a few votes. She was the only one pulling a few votes from Bernie's camp. Interesting. Yes, you're right. I forgot about that. And then she had to take a personal day off or whatever. And on top of that, like I heard he got 70 million in free press leading up to the South Carolina primary. And then like I was in South Carolina for a whole month, and I saw like people, like some parts of South Carolina are like, I've never seen this before in the US, but they are like third world countries, as in there are shanty towns. There are people without running water, like just things you couldn't, for people in New York and California, things you'll never imagine ever happening. And people in New York, California are deciding like with their media, and all the media is located in these two spots.
Well, this comes back to what they do is they scare these people in how much worse, even if you're completely destitute, how much worse things will be if the Democratic candidate lost to Trump. So they're like, they push the narrative that Bernie's going to lose to Trump. You might like Bernie, you might love Bernie, but he's going to lose to Trump. So yeah, they got us in that regard. They can always push that narrative if they have a boogeyman. The boogeyman was Trump. Or it's Russiagate, but they infuse them both. So a lot of people are like, Russia's going to take over. People were literally scared of Russians people to this day believe Russians hacked our elections over all the Russiagate stuff. They think they literally hacked in and picked Trump.
I know it's ridiculous. There's two reasons why it's ridiculous, and I can explain it. If you listen to Putin in 2014, he said that it doesn't. He basically said that it does not matter who the president is in America. Like everything's controlled by. He made a joke about men in dark gray suits.
Понимаете, я уже общался и с одним президентом США, и с другим, и с третьим. Президенты приходят и уходят, а политика не меняется. Знаете почему? Потому что очень сильна власть бюрократии. Вот человека избрали, он приходит с одними идеями, к нему приходят люди с кейсами, хорошо одетые и в темных, как у меня, костюмах, но только не с красным галстуком, а с черным или с темно-синим. И начинают объяснять, как нужно делать. И все сразу меняется, понимаете? Это происходит от одной администрации к другой. Вот что-то изменить – это достаточно сложное дело. Это, я говорю без всякой иронии. Это не потому, что кому-то не хочется, а потому, что это сложно. Вот Обама, он же продвинутый человек, очень человек либеральных взглядов. Правда? Демократ. Он же перед выборами своими обещал закрыть Гуантанамо. Сделал? Нет. А почему? Он что, не хотел? Очень хотел. Я уверен, что хотел. Но не получилось. Он искренне к этому стремился. Не получается. Не так все просто. Но это не самый главный вопрос, хотя это важно. Это трудно себе представить. Да? Люди в кандалах ходят там уже десятилетиями, без суда и следствия. Ну, представьте себе, Франция бы так сделала, или Россия. С потрохами бы сожрали уже давно. Нет, в Соединенных Штатах это возможно, и до сих пор продолжается. Вот, кстати, к вопросу о демократии. Но я сейчас не для этого пример этот привел. Я привел, потому что не все так просто. Но все-таки у меня есть определенная доля сдержанного оптимизма. Мне кажется, что мы по ключевым вопросам можем и должны договариваться.
And then the second thing is that while the election was so close, literally the weather or like it being like, it was like 5,000 votes in one state, like 3 states, sorry, not one.
Yeah, 2016 we're talking about.
Literally
absolutely.
Anything can have, like, there's nothing that can be excluded. Like, I don't know.
At the margins that they lost that election, you could blame anything.
Exactly.
which allowed this whole thing to work with the Russiagate. I mean, so when they did the deep dive on the Russiagate Twitter influence campaign, specifically to Twitter, like how much, and they put out, okay, so first off, they notified people eventually on Twitter, like, I want you to know you shared a whole bunch of Russiagate tweets, like this kind of thing. First off, I never got one of those notifications because I never shared any Russian misinformation.
Yeah.
Second off, they said exactly how many tweets were shared by these people that they identified as misinformation agents. Okay. So the entirety of that, how many tweets were shared,
I don't know,
by this Russia misinformation campaign, I almost on my own shared that many tweets in that time period. So
it's like so small.
No. So yeah, that's the point, is that, so if you look at what they actually shared and how much it got out to the world of total retweets and likes and all that stuff for the Russia stuff, dumb old me, one person on Twitter was about equal to Russia's misinformation campaign.
So it's not a very good one if it is one. I also have one thing, though, is because we could blame anything, I want to blame Obama tearing down Acorn in 2000 something when he had the majority. Acorn was this organization that registered people to vote amongst many other things. And just because Jamie O'Keefe did this like stupid video, the Democrats like tore it down on purpose.
Yeah. Was that Project Veritas nonsense?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they tear that down. And then I don't think it's an accident that Stacey Abrams gets to be the hero to the Democratic Party this time around.
Explain that.
Well, so Stacey Abrams in what state was it where all this
Georgia.
stuff went down with? Yeah. And Stacey Abrams in Georgia gets to be rewarded as the hero, which, for winning because they changed the registration rules and basically made it fair for people to register and vote and did the right stuff. I'm not knocking the changes she put in place. But she's been an up and coming rising star for the Democrats for, 5 years. And it's, it's the pipeline to becoming a rising star in the Democratic Party. They build stuff like that. So did Stacey Abrams create this program, or did they create this program for Stacey Abrams?
We don't know.
Did they create this narrative for her? We don't really know. But I like looking back to where she first became someone on the national stage. The Democratic Party offered her the counter to the president's State of the Union address. So she spoke on behalf of the Democratic Party when Trump spoke, and she was terrible. It was incredibly boring, not good. The message was awful. And the media immediately applauded her and said, "Oh, this is amazing. She's great." And she wasn't. So, I mean, that's where you see, like, you don't get gifted that position in the Democratic Party unless they want to see you rise.
Yeah.
And then the press plays along with it. They create this narrative that Stacey Abrams is this super hero in the Democratic Party. She gets to be the one who saves us all with this voting system. So, I mean, when she runs for higher office, they're going to say, if it wasn't for her in 2020, Trump would have won again.
In Georgia, come on.
I mean, Georgia was close, but that's the point. They're going to say, oh, and Ossoff and Warnock, they were both Georgia. So, she gets credit for that in Georgia, which ultimately gives Biden credit for winning. So she's the hero. That's the whole thing.
And the thing that really pisses me off about her is that she could not even, so the Secretary of State, the guy, like the governor now was the Secretary of State, and he oversaw his own election and he rigged it. And she could not even fight for her own election. So how the bleep is she going to fight for you? She won't. And the fact that she conceded so easily when it was so black and white, she should have created such a ruckus. She could have created an international diplomatic incident. She could have done so much more. And she conceded the minute she conceded, is all I have to say.
Yeah. And so just, I mean, a week, 2 weeks ago, she was okay. So Manchin was holding up he was against the Voting Rights Act, DR, whatever.
The new one, HR one?
Yeah, the new one. Yes. So she would, he's been holding it up, and she agreed to his compromises or whatever. Which I don't even know. They're garbage. Like, who knows?
It's Manchin, so it's probably horrible. But
here she is agreeing to the things that, I mean, if she's this voting rights hero, she should hold her ground, and we should make this fight, and we should hold her, use your leverage. I mean, but instead she's using her leverage to say it's okay that Manchin's terrible, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, let me just look up. What's her Twitter? I just want to look up something. Found it. Okay. Is it you, Stacy Ewa? Yes, found her. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. She had. Okay, I was right. Okay. Wow. Oh, I forgot. She's now on the board of Center for American Progress, right? Yeah,
no, she has been for, I think, 2 years or something.
Neera Tanden's org. And so now she also made up this full of crap recent tweet. She says the Americans have an ally in the just Merrick Garland in voting rights. Yes, they do. He was a bloody prosecutor. He still is. He supports it. He will not even challenge. He will not even refuse to prosecute Trump's unfair restrictions. So this is just her blatantly lying. By the way, another phenomenon that I saw so much during the Trump era was praising absolutely horrible people who were Republicans, who used to be out of bounds, who used to be terrible people, people like George W. Bush. Oh my God, I was so mad.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. I mean, speaking of, Rumsfeld died today, so that's it's not all bad news. But I don't like to applaud when people die, but
we all know Rumsfeld. Where he will be, and but what pisses me off is that in that moment when he dies, okay, if it's I don't know, your aunt that died, yes, I understand that we need to be polite to you because it's your aunt. She's not a public figure, and she hasn't she didn't sell chemical weapons to Saddam Hussein to gas the Kurds. That.
You don't know my aunt.
I'm having faith that she did not sell chemical weapons.
She didn't. Okay. But I do have one I told to fuck off recently over politics. So that's fun. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
But what I said is that but then all these obituaries you see, that's the last record usually people have. And then the first thing that pops up when you Google somebody is their bloody obituary. And when they're a public figure who gassed the Kurds, who gave Saddam Hussein the weapons of mass destruction to gas the Kurds, who then what else? And then who started the second Iraq war, who lied about the nuclear weapon? The weapons of mass destruction. The reason why it's
yellow cake uranium.
Let's all
relive it. It's been a while, but we all went through that. We all got lied to by our government. There was a point where the media made it. The narrative was you couldn't be pro-Iraq and become president. You couldn't have supported the Iraq war and become president. The only one who supported the Iraq war was Joe Biden. So the Democratic Party got stuck, and they're like, "Okay, we gotta back Biden." And what does Biden say? Biden said not that long ago that
he knew that Saddam
Hussein they were lying about it.
Yes. I was horrified. I'm in that case, you mofo.
Killed yesterday in Iraq. You say that your vote on the Iraq war was based on the President Bush's representations that this wasn't about going to war. It was about presenting a clear, at least, threat to Saddam Hussein. Bernie Sanders says, I saw right through that. I was right. I knew what George Bush was up to. When we look back on it, can we say that Senator Sanders' judgment about that was better than yours?
Look, the reason I voted the way I did was to try to prevent a war from happening because, remember, the threat was to go to war. The argument was because Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. So he said that I need to be able to get the Security Council to agree to send in inspectors to put pressure on Saddam to find out whether or not he's producing nuclear weapons. And at the time, I said, that's your reason. All right, I get it. That was the rationale was that's the way to not go to war, because I didn't believe he had those nuclear weapons. I didn't believe he had those weapons of mass destruction. And you may remember the debates we had after that period about when Colin said, anyway. So that was the rationale.
That was the day before the Michigan primary too. And he said he knew that they were lying and he still bloody voted for the Iraq war. What kind of sociopathic mofo are you to destroy? How many lives were millions? We don't know how many lives were destroyed, right?
Like that should be a political death. Your career in politics should be over after you admit you knew that the motive for us getting into war was a lie. That should end it. And the media should have hammered him on that forever. He shouldn't have been the nominee based on that one moment alone. And there are 50 moments like that. But
okay. So I forgot. I can't even do a run through of everything that's horrific that Donald Rumsfeld has done. That's too extensive. Just can you give me 1 second? I just want to, if you can remember, I remember the selling Saddam Hussein the weapons of mass to gas the Kurds.
Right.
And
it feels like 100 years ago, unfortunately, but yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to find one more bad thing. Let's see.
I mean, I just Googled and the first thing that comes up is Rumsfeld war criminal. I mean, I'll give Google credit for that one at least.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. So he was also instrumental in negotiating with the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Oh my God. And he was apparently, I forgot the one where he tried to lie about Saddam Hussein being involved with 9/11, about a week or a week and a half after 9/11. And Saddam Hussein had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, basically you can look at George Bush and most of the international foreign relations blunders, you can put them on Cheney, Cheney, Bush, hand in hand. I mean, Cheney, Bush, Rumsfeld, and Bush and Cheney. I mean, that whole trifecta was a mess. I mean, that's.
And tomorrow, I bet you, if we go to New York Times, it'll be a lot like what they said about Count Hayden, which will be our first piece. So what happened was that Count Hayden was an Octoberist, is like a moderate Republican. And he was a landlord, which actually means slave owner. And he had slaves and he treated his slaves very badly. But then the liberal press, which Lenin calls Tovarish, which is kind of like the New York Times, slops over him. And Lenin is upset that in his obituary, they forget to mention that he's a slave owner who orders his slaves to be whipped for not warming up the wine enough. He's just a terrible person. You'll see. Wow. And this is exactly what it's kind of funny because last week we had next week whatever. I ignored this time, pretend that I have a TARDIS because I can't do the times. But Steph read some parts of it as John McCain. But then the funny thing is that I bet you we can read this again as Donald Rumsfeld, and we will find hundreds of examples of obituaries, New York Times, LA Times, Chicago Tribune,
right,
that'll all do something horrific like this, right?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, the first thing they want to do is just normalize all these people. The worst criminals in our government end up being heroes at the end of the day, no matter what. Yeah.
And Washington Post was for Senator Gravel, on the other hand, who exposed war crimes as opposed to commit war crimes. They were they called him they called him basically a crazy 9/11 truth. That wasn't exact words, but that was the implication.
Yeah, a nutty idealist is like the best they will give someone like Gravel.
Yeah. And so then you're like, so you kind of have to understand who these people, like what kind of disgusting person, like what kind of news agency would praise somebody who commits war crimes more than somebody who exposes war crimes? Just a disgusting one.
Well, I mean, the media, their favorite moment was the unity moment of Michelle Obama giving George Bush gum. Like like how many times do they just,
that was just,
I mean, if people don't see how the press is involved in all the mess that we're in right now, like just, even if you don't believe anything I ever say or Esha ever says, I mean, just be aware of it and watch MSNBC or something and see, that's why these shows matters, because when you show people and at least you change their mind to like tune in and look for that stuff. Once you see it, it really is like the movie They Live. It's like it's in front of you all everywhere. It's like, holy shit. One of my
favorite horror movies. I only recently saw it. Like, so it's about these aliens that are in Earth, and you have to have a special glass to see the aliens. Otherwise, were they aliens or right?
Yeah, they were aliens.
Okay,
yeah.
But then like homeless people and really people that we consider insane, but who are actually seeing reality. So they were actually the same people.
Right.
They could see it like people you thought were schizophrenic yeah.
No, but they also could see the propaganda. So they could look at a billboard and if you put the glasses on, it would say like consume behind it. It would be like a cigarette ad. It would say consume. So it was like, it really was a message about the propaganda and capital being the most important thing even to the aliens. Like the whole idea was, we were all just being used for them.
Yep. And with that, we're going to start our piece. And this piece, this is the final piece we're going to read. It's very short, but it's really funny because, how they talk about decent people. So this is Count Hayden, who is literally the John McCain of Tsarist Russia. Just delete Count Hayden with John McCain. And yeah, this is Lenin's eulogy. So to him, it's really funny because he uses the word mayo as an insult for the second time, actually. Like this.
You want in memory of Count Hayden?
Yeah, it's hilarious. You're just going to love it.
In memory of Count McCain?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. You're going to love this. It's so funny. Okay. By the way, you know who called John McCain decent? Never mind. So like a certain Turk, young. Okay. Anyways,
well, I think also Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had nice words about him.
Okay, we're gonna look that up and put that right in. Okay.
The progressive press was unanimous in expressing its profound condolences over the heavy loss sustained by Russia in the death of Count McCain. The fine personality of Pyotr Alexandrovich attracted all decent people irrespective of part or trend, a rare and happy lot. There follows a lengthy quotation from the right cadet Ruskiye Vedovosti.
Yeah, right cadet is like the Joe Manchin's of Tsarist Russia.
Taking a sentimental effusion on the life and activities of that wonderful man by Prince P.D. Dolgorukov.
Yep.
One of that Dolgorukov breed whose spokesman bluntly confessed the roots of their democracy better comes to terms with the peasants peacefully than wait until they seize the land themselves. We deeply share the feelings of grief evoked by the death of Count McCain and all who are accustomed to value the man irrespective of party guise in which he may be invested. And the late McCain was above all a man. So writes the newspaper Tovarish number 296, Tuesday, June 19, 1907. The journalists of Tovarish are not only the most ardent Democrats of our legal press, but also consider themselves socialists. Critical socialists. They're the nearest thing to social Democrats. And the Mensheviks, Plekovanov, Martov, Smirnov, Perilovsky, Den, etc., are offered the most cordial hospitality in a paper whose columns are adorned with the signatures of Prokopovich, Kuskova, Portugalov, and other former Marxists. In a word, there is not the slightest doubt that the journalists of Tovarish are the most left spokesmen of our enlightened, democratic, etc. society to which narrow, illegal activities are alien. And when you come across lines like those quoted above, it is difficult to refrain from exclaiming to these gentlemen how fortunate it is that we, the Bolsheviks, obviously did not belong to the tovarish, a circle of decent people. Gentlemen, decent people of Russia, enlightened democracy, you are drugging the minds of Russian people and infecting them with the miasma of toadyism and servility. 100 times worse than those notorious members of the Black Hundred.
Those are like the far right, KKK kind of people who murder peasants. Okay.
The Purakeshvich, Khrushchevan, and the Dubrovin, against whom you are waging such a zealous, such a liberal, such a cheap, such a, for you, profitable and safe war. You shrug your shoulders and turn to all the decent people of your society with a scornful smile at the idea of such an absurd paradoxes. Yes, we know perfectly well that nothing on earth can shake you out of your vulgar liberal complacency. And that it is why we rejoice that we have succeeded in all our activities in setting up a solid wall between ourselves and the circle of decent people of Russian educated society. Can one give any instance of the Black Hundreds having corrupted and misled any considerable section of the population? One cannot. Neither their press, nor their league, neither their meetings, nor their elections to the first and second Dumas could provide any such instances. The outrages and atrocities of the Black Hundreds in which the police and the soldiery take part enrage the people. The frauds, dirty tricks, bribes of the Black Hundreds arouse hatred and contempt. With help of the government funds, the Black Hundreds organize gangs and bands of drunkards who can act only with permission and at instigation of the police. And all there is not a trace of any dangerous ideological influence on any considerable section of the population. On the other hand, it is just unquestionable that such an influence is exerted by our legal, liberal, democratic press. The elections of the first and second Dumas meeting, associations, and educational failures all go to prove this. And Tovarish's utterance in connection with the death of McCain clearly show the kind of ideological influence this is. Quote, a heavy loss, fine personality, happy lot, was above all a man. Count McCain, the landlord, magnanimously played the liberal prior to the October Revolution and the first victory of the people in October 17, 1905. He immediately, without the slightest hesitation, went over to the counter revolutionary camp to the Octobrists party, the party of the landlords and big capitalists who were incensed with peasants and democracy. Well, can I ask you right now, Esha, who would you say is the party of the landlords and the big capitalists?
Oh, probably landlords. I would say the big farm companies. I would say the Republicans, but the Silicon Valley and Wall Street kind of capitalists, that's a Democrat. And unfortunately, we have two parties for the capitalists and zero parties for the people.
Agreed. In the first Duma, the noble character defended the government, and after the dissolution of the first Duma, negotiated, but without reaching agreement for a place in the ministry. Such is the principal stages in the career of this typical counter-revolutionary landlord. And all along come well-dressed, enlightened, and educated gentlemen mouthing phrases about liberalism, democracy, and socialism, and making speeches of sympathy for the cause of liberty, the cause of the peasants' struggle against the landlords for land, gentlemen who possess a virtual monopoly of the legal opposition in the press, in the associations, and at the meetings and elections, and lifting up their eyes to heaven, preach to the people. Rare and happy lot! The late McCain was above all a man. Yes, McCain was not only a man, he was also a citizen, able to understand the common interest of his class and to defend those interests very skillfully. And you, gentlemen, the enlightened Democrats, you are just tearful simpletons concealing under a cloak of liberal idiocy your inability to be anything but cultured lackeys of this landlord class. There's no need to fear the landlord's influence on the people. They will never succeed in fooling any considerable number of workers or even peasants for any lengthy period, but the influence of intelligentsia, who take no direct part in exploitation. Okay, tell me this, the intelligentsia, what are they referencing here? Is that
like people who are like the Washington Post columnist, the New York Times, those people like Paul Krugman who say, oh my God, we know how to do things, how stuff gets done, that kind of people who basically are like totally lying to you. Like, I mean, every economist, you should just like throw out what they say. Like actually Thomas Frank said this, something like people like with right before NAFTA, every economist who's like, I have an economics PhD and I know NAFTA is going to be cool, things will trickle down. And he also talked about how every high school dropout was like, no, dude, this is going to like devastate the economy. And at a given time, every single high school dropout proved to be right. And that's the same kind of thing. I'll find that video later.
That's perfect. But the influence of the intelligentsia who take no part in the exploitation, who have been trained to use general phrases and concepts, who seize on every good idea, and who sometimes from sincere stupidity elevate their inter-class position to a principle of non-class parties and non-class politics. The influence of this bourgeois intelligentsia on the people is dangerous. Here, and here alone, do we find a contamination of the masses that is capable of doing real harm. And that calls for the utmost exertion of all the forces of socialism to counteract this poison.
Yep.
McCain was an educated, cultured, humane, and tolerant man, ecstatically exclaimed the liberal and democratic droolers, imagining they have raised themselves above all partisanship to the standpoint common to all mankind. You're mistaken, most worthy sirs. This is not a standpoint common to all mankind, but a common servile standpoint. The slave who's aware of his slavish conditions and fights, it is a revolutionary. The slave who is not aware of his slavish conditions and vegetates in silent, unenlightened, the wordless slavery is just a slave. The slave who drools when smugly describing the delights of the slavish existence and who goes into ecstasies over his good and kind master is a groveling boor. And you, gentlemen, and the Tovarish are just such boors. With disgusting complacency, you wax sentimental over the fact that a counter-revolutionary landlord who supported the counter-revolutionary government was an educated and humane man. You do not realize that instead of turning the slave into a revolutionary, you are turning slaves into grovelers. All your talk about freedom and democracy is sheer claptrap, parrot phrases, fashionable twaddle of hypocrisy. It is just painted signboard. And you yourselves are white sepulchres. You are mean-spirited boors. And your education, culture, and enlightenment are only a species of thoroughgoing prostitution. For you are selling your souls, and you are selling them not through need, but for love of the thing.
The thing is in like consume, like just like for wanting more crap as opposed to needing to feed your children, etc. Okay.
And is Hayden Donald Rumsfeld?
Yes.
Okay. All right, here we go from Lenin. Donald Rumsfeld was a convinced constitutionalist. You say sentimentally. You are lying, or else you have been completely hoodwinked by the Haydens, also known as the Donald Rumsfelds, apparently. Publicly before the people to call a man a conceived constitutionalist when that man is known to have founded a party which supported the government of
those are the extreme right wingers like McConnell. Basically people, McConnell, Tom Cotton, Ted Cruz, and some other psychotic right wing senator.
Gotcha. So they're saying that Donald Rumsfeld, also Hayden, founded all these terrible people. He founded a party which supported the government.
So he can't be like that into the idea of a constitution. You know what I mean?
Right. Why would you back these people?
Yeah.
Witty, which I'm assuming is Vitti or something.
Yeah. He's the, those are all the people in the cabinet for the czar. So if you can't have a constitution with the czar because like the czar can do whatever he wants. A constitution means that there's a limit on government power. So he can't have been a constitutionalist.
Got you. Dubasov, Goromykin, and Stolypin is like calling a cardinal a convinced opponent of the Pope. Instead of giving the people a correct idea of the Constitution, you, the Democrats, which fits now, treat the Constitution in your writings as something in the nature of salmon mayonnaise. Wow. For there can be no doubt that for the counter-revolutionary landlord, the Constitution is a sort of salmon mayonnaise, a means of protecting the method of plundering and subjugating the muzik.
The muzik is like the country peasant, like the slave, the poor guy, the ordinary man.
Gotcha. And subjugating the ordinary man, me, and the masses of the people. If Hayden, Donald Rumsfeld, was a convinced constitutionalists, then Dubasov and Stolypin as well were convinced constitutionalists. For in practice, Donald Rumsfeld supported their policy.
Yep.
Dubasov and Stolypin could not have been what they were and could not have pursued their policy without the support of Octobrists.
That's Hayden's party.
Hayden, Donald Rumsfeld among them. But what tokens them? O ye sage Democrats from among decent people, are we to judge the political physiognomy of a man, a constitutionalist, by his speeches, by the fact that he beats his breast and sheds crocodile tears, or by his actual deeds in the social arena?
Yep.
What is characteristic and typical of Donald Rumsfeld's political activities? Is it that he could not reach agreement with Stolypin about joining the ministry after the dissolution of the First Duma? Or is it that such an act he proceeded to negotiate with Stolypin at all?
Yeah, the Duma was like the parliament. So the Tsar forcibly dissolved the Duma, and this guy decides to collude with them, even though he dissolved, like, what kind of it's just like bullshit, because you can't just dissolve the parliament. So you can't call him a constitutionalist when he agrees to dissolve the parliament, right?
Clearly. Or is it that after such an act, he proceeded to negotiate with Stolypin at all? Is it that formerly, at one time or another, he uttered some kind of liberal phrases?
Yep.
That's very fitting today. Or is it that he became an Octobrist? Parentheses, a counter-revolutionary, immediately after October 17th.
When they dissolved the parliament.
In calling Hayden Rumsfeld a convinced constitutionalist, you teach the people that the former is characteristic and typical. And that means that you are senselessly repeating fragments of democratic slogans without understanding the rudiments of democracy.
Bingo.
And that makes me think of, when you call Biden progressive, you know nothing. So, and you are undermining it and you're propagandizing people.
The new FDR. And I'm like, oh God, give me a headache. God,
kill me. For democracy, remember this, you decent gentlemen and members of respectable society. Sorry, ladies, apparently.
Well, no, he's right, because all the four people he mentioned are the gentlemen.
Oh, fair enough. Means fighting against that very domination over the country by counter-revolutionary landlords, which Mr. Hayden, Donald Rumsfeld, upheld, and of which he was the embodiment through his political career.
Yep.
Donald Rumsfeld was an educated man, say our drawing room Democrats sentimentally. Yes, we have admitted this, and we will willingly admit that he was better educated and cleverer, which does not always go together with education, than the Democrats themselves. For he better understood the interests of his own class and his own counter-revolutionary social movement than you, gentlemen of Tovarish.
And every newspaper tomorrow.
Right. Understand the interests of the movement for emancipation. So basically, he's saving us and he's smarter than you and he did the right thing. And you dumb people don't really get it, but he does. The educated counter-revolutionary landlord knew how to defend the interests of his class subtly and artfully. He skillfully covered up the selfish strivings and rapacious appetites of the semi-feudal landlords with a veil of noble words and outward gentlemanliness.
Unlike Trump, yeah.
Right. He's got some tact. He's well-spoken.
Yep.
He insisted to Stolypin on the protection of these interests by the most civilized forms of class domination. Donald Rumsfeld and his like brought all their education to the altar of the interests of the landlords. To a real Democrat, and not a respectable bore from the Russian radical salons, this might have served as an excellent subject for a journalist who wanted to show the prostitution of education in modern society.
Yep.
Journalists.
Yes.
When the Democrat prates about education, he wants to create in the reader's mind an impression of superior knowledge, a broad outlook, and an ennobled mind and heart.
Yep.
For the Rumsfeld's education is a thin veneer, training a coaching in gentlemanly ways of performing the meanest and dirtiest political deals.
Bingo.
That one fit really well. For all Rumsfeld's Octoberism and all his peaceful renovationism, all his negotiation with Stolypin after the dissolution of the First Duma were, in fact, the carrying out of the meanest and dirtiest political business, arranging how most reliably, craftily, and artfully, how most solidly within and least noticeably without, to defend the rights of the aristocratic Russian nobility to the blood and sweat of the millions of muziks.
Country folk. Yep.
Who have always and incessantly been robbed by these Haydens, Rumsfelds, before 1861, 2090.
Okay, so 1861 is the magic year in which the quote, it's exactly like the year of it's the same year as the Emancipation Proclamation, but that was the year where they abolished serfdom, kind of like they emancipated the slaves and obviously that's not exactly what happened, and everyone was re-enslaved. So same thing.
So before then, during then, and after 1905.
Yeah.
In their time, Nekrasov and Saltykov, that's a good name, taught Russian society to see through the outward gloss and varnish of the feudal landlord's education, the predatory interests that lay beneath it. They taught it to hate the hypocrisy and callousness of such type. Yet the modern Russian intellectual who imagines himself to be the guardian of the democratic heritage and who belongs to the cadet party or to the cadet yes men teaches the people groveling servility and delights in his impartiality as a non-party Democrat. A spectacle almost more revolting than that offered by the feats of Dubasov and Stolypin. Rumsfeld was a man, exclaims the drawing room Democrat with enthusiasm. Rumsfeld was humane. This sentimentalizing over Rumsfeld humanness reminds us not only of Nekrasov and Saltykov, but also of Turgenev in his A Hunter's Sketches. Here we find depicted a civilized, educated landlord, a cultured man with the European polish, well-versed in the social graces. The landlord is treating his guest with wine and conversing on lofty themes. Why hasn't the wine been warmed? He asks the lackey. The lackey turns pale and does not answer. The landlord rings, and when the servant enters, he says, without raising his voice, about Fyodor, make the necessary arrangements. Here you have an example of Rumsfeld-like humanness, or humanness a la Rumsfeld. Turgenev's landlord is humane too. So humane compared to Salty Chica.
Yeah.
His name's all right. For instance, that he does not go to the stables in person to see that it has been arranged for Fyodor to be flogged. He is so humane that he does not see to it that the birch with which Fyodor is to be flogged has been soaked in salt water. He would not think of hitting or scolding a lackey, would this landlord. He only arranges things from a distance, like the educated man he is, in a gentle and humane manner, without noise, without fuss, without making a public scene. That's a very kids in cages moment to me.
Yep. That's exactly like exactly the difference between Trump and Bush and Trump and Reagan, is that Reagan was an actor. And so Trump would just like say things like fire and fury, and Bush would be like, that's the only, and that paragraph, like, yeah, they're still like flogging their slaves, but one is being more cool about it. Right.
Yeah. It's not a selling point to their campaign.
Yeah.
Rumsfeld's humanness was of exactly the same kind. He himself did not join Luzanovsky's and Filianov's, yeah, in flogging and maltreating the peasants. He did not join the Renenkamps and the Zakomolskis in their punitive expeditions. He did not join Dubasov in his Moscow shootings.
That's where they shot down 2,000 workers for asking for an 8-hour workday in front of the Tsar.
Right.
Yeah.
He did not join Dubasov in his Moscow shootings. So humane he was that he refrained from such actions, leaving all the arrangements to these heroes of the national stable and controlling them from his peaceful and cultured study, the political party which supported the government of the Dubasovs and which leaders drank the health of the conqueror of Moscow, Dubasov.
The guy who mowed down 2,000 workers who asked for 8-hour, just living wages and an 8-hour workday.
Wow. Was it not inhumane? Oh, excuse me. Was it not indeed humane to send the Dubasovs to arrange about Fyodor instead of going to the stables himself? To the old women who run the political department and are liberal, to the old women who run the political department of our liberal and democratic press, this is a model of humaneness. He had a heart of gold. He wouldn't hurt a fly. A rare and happy lot to support the Dubasovs, to enjoy the fruits of the vengeance wreaked by the Dubasovs, and not to be held responsible for the Dubasovs. The drawing room Democrat considers it the height of democracy to sigh over the fact that we are not being governed by the Rumsfelds. For it never enters the head of this drawing room simpleton that there is a natural division of labor between the Rumsfelds and the Dubasovs.
Yes, this is exactly it. This is exactly the division of labor between the Tom Cottons and the good, decent Republicans like the Romneys. Like it's not that Romney's a more decent person, but they have different roles, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much some of this matches up, but yeah.
Pat, go ahead.
Yeah. Listen to this. Sorry, I'm trying to do this without my reading glasses.
No. Use your reading glasses, please.
That you want me to? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's better for your eyes not to strain. You're going to get a headache.
This is a game changer. Listen to this. And how sad is he that Rumsfeld has died now, when he would have been most useful? He would now have fought the extreme right. Sure.
We saw this so much
with the extreme right, but this is what they will say.
Yeah.
He would now have fought the extreme right, revealing the finest aspect of his soul and defending constitutional principles with all the energy and fertility of mind natural to him. And that's from
that's okay. I'll read that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of Jesus Christ, I'm already forgetting him. Who was the Republican that stopped the reversal of Obamacare?
That with Emperor Maximus is like thumbs down.
No. Before that, who died?
John McCain.
Yeah, John. This is straight John McCain here.
Yes. Exactly.
Because he was our savior from the extreme right. You know, he was the guy protecting us all. He's such a hero, even though his views are so.
He still used the racial slur that we should not use to refer to Asian people, like till the day he died, right?
Yeah, he was a mess, but he's a hero for not being Trump and stopping us from Trump.
Like, as if that's something to be proud of.
Which just being a decent human.
Yeah, but
once in a while.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. How sad that the educated and humane Donald Rumsfeld, the peaceful renovator, is not here to cloak with this constitutional phrase mongering the nakedness of the third Octoberist Duma, the nakedness of the autocracy, which is destroying the Duma. It is the aim of the democratic journalists not to tear off, excuse me, it's the aim of the democratic journalists, where was I? Not to tear off.
Yeah, the false cloak.
The false cloak. Not to show up to the people, their oppressor enemies in all their nakedness, but to regret the absence of the experienced hypocrites who adorn the ranks of the Octoberists.
Yes. And this is, Lenin always does this. He writes his notes in 3 different languages. So we're just going to get my brother-in-law to read this German phrase.
Perfect. We'll sub it. Do it on my voice. You want me to move my lips a little bit? That'll be
okay. Yeah.
No.
And then...
So German language, what is a Philistine? A hollow gut full of fear and hope that God will have mercy. What is the Russian liberal democratic Philistine of the cadet and near cadet camp? A hollow gut full of fear and hope that the counter-revolutionary landlord will have mercy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that it's like, yep. That's exactly what our American Democrats are the same exact way. They are always appealing to that decency in the Republican that never bloody exists, right?
Yeah, but it's a charade because they can sell that decency as something like, oh, we would go alone and pass an infrastructure bill without the Republicans, but let's just hope for their decency to add some things that we need into the bill. And let's do a bipartisan bill. But they know it's not going to happen because they know they're going to be obstructionists. But ultimately, by pushing that myth to people, it makes it okay that they don't do much because we're stuck with them as our enemy.
Exactly. And it lowers people's expectations. And then, but suddenly the Republicans, By the way, where will people find your new podcast?
Oh, so we're on YouTube. I mean, we're rookies, so we don't know. Maybe we'll go to some platform, but Punch Up Pod on YouTube. Okay,
and do you know what day you're going to air it? What time? Anything, or is it still up in arms?
It's a work in progress. I mean, we're going to shoot our next show tonight. Probably air it Friday or Saturday. Going forward, probably next week. We may have just a regular Wednesday live show, and then we'll try to grab interviews and things during the week that make sense. But we'll have a live show, I think, probably every Wednesday.
Okay, well, this sounds great. We're gonna actually do something better than putting the link in the description box. We're gonna put a card for people to click on right now to go watch the latest episode. And absolutely, do you have any books coming, or is this is this taking up all your time?
Yeah, I haven't started on my next book. I have a book I need to finish, but I'm going to move on from it. It's just, anyway, that's a whole nother story. Won't even get into it, but eventually I'll write another book. But at this moment, podcasting and just trying to push the narratives that are important, I think is my focus.
Okay. Well, we're so glad you finally joined us. I've been I think I spoke to Jenna almost a month ago. It's like, I want to have Pat on. And then, so thank you so much and good luck. So please come again in a few weeks or months to tell us what's going on. And
yeah. I happily will. It was great to meet you. I mean, we've spoken before. I think we've been on podcast panels together. And
yes, we have been. We were on Joy's show once together.
Right. But great to talk to you directly. And I love what you're doing here with this. It's good stuff.
Yep, same here. And you always make me laugh. So I can't wait to see this. And thanks again for making all the Bernie people just smile a little amongst the toughest times.
Right. Honored to be here. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed this wonderful Sundays with Lenin. So Vito0606 asked the question, what is renovationism? Well, the cool thing about Lenin is that he writes so much that all you need to do is like read a little bit more. So Octobrists were the people who were like, yay, I love the Bulletin. Okay, so in 1905, there was Bloody Sunday, and then the Tsar had to give up something and make a fake Duma. Well, the Octobrists, and then the guy who made the fake Duma, his name is Bulletin, and he made a fake constitution, and that was done in October. So the party of the Octobrists, as Lenin calls them, are these like pro-Tsar light Republicans, kind of like the McCains. And then the cadets or constitutional Democrats were liberal, but they were like, hey, we kind of want a constitution and not something that you guys kind of can fake. So they were the cadet party. But in about 8 months into the second fake Duma, the Octobrists who called themselves the left Octobrists, like Count Hayden, and the right cadets. So that would be kind of like Joe Manchin of Tsarist Russia. So it'll be kind of like the McCains and the Joe Manchins decided to form a new party called the Party of Peaceful Renovation. And Lenin always made fun of it by calling it the Party of Peaceful Plunder. But let me just check the Russian word for renovation and plunder to see if there's a pun involved. Okay, give me one more second to check something. Okay. Okay. You know what's really funny? This is complicated, and I don't want to get involved in some. Oh God, that's the lowest thing you want to do. Okay, give me a second. Because I was going to explain the GH thing, but then, okay, so let's see give me one more second while I, get the, let's see if there's a, pun involved. So let's see. Give me 1 second. It takes me a little long to read in Russian, so I'm like a second grader still. So just give me one more second to just figure out where to. Like I said, a paragraph takes like a little longer for me to read in Russian than in English, so I'm just blabbering so that you guys don't get bored and think I'm gone. So, okay. Got it. Okay.
She's laughing, people.
Oh, sorry. Okay, okay, this is too funny. Okay, give me 1 second. Lenin's the only one who's actually much funnier in Russian than in, I don't know how to explain it. Okay. Okay, he calls it, Mir no, sorry, this is hard. Mir na obnolenstva. So he calls it the world. I'm sorry. Peaceful rebuilding of the world is what Lenin calls it. So yeah.
So renovationism is the peaceful rebuilding of the world.
Yeah.
So is that a communist? That's a joke. Oh, it's a joke. Like that's what they're asking for these.
Yes. This this coalition of right Democrats and left Republicans in the modern American sense.
The centrists.
Yeah. Oh yeah, duh. What did I think of it?
The centrists want to rebuild.
Yes, bridges.
Yes, that's what that means. All right.
Yeah.
So do you want me to get the first we have
Absolutely.
two more Rumsfeld. Just have to add the images in because I can't do them while you're live or they pop up on your face.
Oh yeah, okay. I will test this.
Okay, so the first one, why is this not? I just saved them. I don't know why they're not showing up.
Okay, we'll wait.
Hold on. Sorry, people. I thought I saved them over on my desktop, but I must have put them somewhere else. Okay. It's always something. Hold on. Let me just try to save them again, because maybe they didn't save right.
By the way, I have a question to ask everyone. This just popped up because our random, maybe stoned Friday night streams seem to get more viewers, and our Monday night streams seem to get more viewers. So instead of Sundays with Lenin, do you guys prefer either Mondays with Lenin or Fridays with Lenin?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Is there anything else that streams now?
I don't know. But every Monday night stream, even the most impromptu, stupid one, gets more viewers, and so does the Friday night stream. So I couldn't. So maybe it's just a bad time.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna have to screenshot those because they're not saving in the way that I need them to save.
I would like to hear your opinions about it because, yes, of course, I'm collecting your data. That's why I am. Then I'm going to put you on my list so you can get updates and my articles. But I'm honest about it. So yes, of course, everyone collects data. Me too.
Okay, so here is the first one. Why didn't that come up? What is going on here? All right, so plus.
Okay, Plain Toast says Fridays. So we'll put a poll at the a poll later, and everyone come and vote for it. More Matt F. Okay, you want more Matt F. We can get more Matt F. That is funny. I will absolutely get more Matt F.
I don't know why. All right, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time pulling this up.
It's fine. We have patience.
Image.
I will. Let me tell you a funny. What we could talk about. What story do I want to? Oh, okay. While we're at it. Oh, did somebody? Okay. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Oh, yeah. I told you about how my Twitter gets. Like, why do Americans always think that every protester is a good person? America has seen those Tea Partiers, the KKK protests and all that. Okay, Sundays. Okay, we can change it to another day. Lenin, Ulyanov, Vladimir. Is there any day that matches? Okay, in either English or Russian. Let's see. Vladimir Ulyanov, Ilyich, Sunday, Lenin. Lent with Lenin.
Lunch with Lenin.
Lunch with Lenin. No. Darn. That won't work because the timing. It has to be in the evening is what I noticed.
Yeah.
Late nights with Lenin.
Late night with Lenin. I can do late nights.
Yeah, let's do late night with Lenin, and we'll do it. We're gonna. Would it be possible to test this on next Friday night?
Sure. We can do it for next Friday. I think we
have stuff for next Friday.
Yeah, we're gonna do. We're gonna finish up talking about the Stalin stuff, right?
No, that was that's Summers with Stalin. So we can do
so
it
we're doing
whenever
that.
we want.
I think we're gonna do that Wednesday. I think we kind of decided on that.
Okay, so let's do that then.
Okay.
We'll do Late Night with Lenin on Fridays and see how that works, and if we get more people with that.
Right, this better be.
And the cool thing about late nights is that we can actually don't have to commit to a day.
Okay, so I think I got this one. Hold on.
Yeah, let's try that. Late Night with Lenin and on Lenin after. Okay, people.
All right, so this one's People Magazine once named Donald Rumsfeld in their sexiest man alive issue. I actually saw that. I saw that.
Wait a minute. Okay.
About that.
So they had Christian Bale, Hrithik Roshan, I can't think of any other sexy people. There's Hrithik Roshan, Christian Bale. I'm sure there's somebody else that I can't think of right now. Cristiano Ronaldo, the soccer player. Yeah, I don't know why, but like it seems like my mind is frozen whenever I think of sexy men. My mind just stops at Christian Bale and Hrithik Roshan, and I have no idea why I'm not able to.
Well, they always do. I think they always do like one main one, and then they have like I don't know, like ones from different categories. Okay.
But we all agree that Christian Bale is super sexy, right? Or are you guys too young for Christian Bale? And he's too young.
Christian Bale's too young for me. No.
No. What do you think? Do you think Christian Bale's sexy, or is he dated now?
I think he'd probably be dated for the younger people.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
But he's sexy for us, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, Christian Bale. That's why, like, I have trouble like doing a Batman stream, because this is what a Batman stream is going to go. Oh my God, Christian Bale! Oh, he's so sexy. He's so hot. Oh, he's so hot, sexy. And then I won't be able to talk about anything else besides how sexy and hot Christian Bale is. So, I guess. All
right, let me see if I can find this.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see the second one.
Hold on. This is being such a pain in the butt to me.
Lenin After Dark is also good. Late nights with Lenin, because there's nobody streaming at late night, and I do remember when Katie had me come on at like in the middle of like really, really late once. There was a lot of people on her stream, so let's do Late Nights with Lenin.
Yeah, I think that will work, and I can make it through the late night. I can do it.
No, you did fantastic.
No, I do all right as long as I don't take my medicinal cannabis
marijuana. Okay.
Too early, so I usually can do my late night after that. But I could spread it out through the day, but I like getting really stoned at night. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's do. Should we do it this Friday at 9 or 10? How late do you guys want to do it?
9:00 was good, but I don't know if that's late enough for
late nights. Okay, let's do. Okay,
want to go 10? Because we can go 10 to midnight, and then make sure that we get off at midnight.
Yeah, let's do that. Late Nights with Lenin.
Okay. All right. So now I have to change the logo and everything.
It'll be fun. Just keep the logo. Change Sundays to late nights. Right?
Yeah. No. I mean, I'll make the logo the same, but I'll have to change it to late night instead of Sundays. So.
Yeah. Oh, is a late night too close to David Letterman's thing, or no? He's the Late Show. Okay, we can do late night.
Yeah, we'll be fine. All right. So this one was the
trademark infringement.
This one was China remembers Rumsfeld as pragmatist his successors could learn from.
And I look at how they said how you can trust the South China Morning Post after writing this article.
Yeah.
That imbibes a lot of trust.
Yeah, I did see this, and I didn't pull it because I wasn't sure with the China remembers Rumsfeld, like what I don't know, like in its South China, so I wasn't sure about the source. So I was trying not to go for. This is
Jimmy Lai. Okay, so he's just like total right wing, like he's the Hong Kong version of Mitch McConnell, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I was thinking that it had something to do with the right wing, because there was plenty of like Fox ones and stuff from there. So I wasn't really pulling those ones when I saw mine. Like, so what was the one that you wanted up again? Now
I forgot.
I think it was it the second one I did? Yeah. No, that was your cunning leader one. Let me see. What else do we got here?
Okay. That's actually, we haven't gotten anything other than that. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do late nights with Lenin, and yeah, I guess we're gonna do summer Stalin stream. Oh, so we were like, okay, so it all started when John Y. Spinoza was telling us like, oh, that Chapo went on this really stupid rant about Stalin, and then I listened to it, and it was like, oh my God, it was so wrong. So then I tried doing an impromptu stream last Tuesday, and we did not get much. And then I thought maybe if we were to do this, like
organize it a little,
organize it a little, we might finish it. But instead, we only got, after 3 hours, we only got into 3 minutes. So now we've accepted that it's going to take us 1 hour to debunk 1 minute. So we're just gonna do it. Radically accepted it. So we're gonna slowly debunk it again, but we're gonna start at minute 3. We won't move back. And we will play, and then we will, we won't move it back. So then, I forgot what happens then.
What happens then? We're at, let's see. Matt F was discussing. We got to the year 1928 with Bukharin and
okay.
So
we
we're going to go on
about
from there.
The difference between we didn't get to Bukharin yet. We were still learning about the left, Zinoviev left opposition, and Bukharin's the right opposition. So we'll start learning about Bukharin with Matt F. He's the Bukharin person.
Yeah. So that's where we're starting next Friday. Thursday. Oh no, Friday. Wednesday night we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do whatever, a couple hours on that at least, and then Friday night we'll move the Sundays with Lenin to late night with Lenin on Friday nights.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works, and if that works, we might keep it permanent.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. As for and I think I'm gonna like merge Monday night stream with late night with Lenin, and this week we'll just do like Monday night stream stuff. Like we have a recorded interview, so let's just do that like during the late night with Lenin. How about that?
The other recorded interview?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
All right. So then when are we doing stuff? Then let's run stuff next Sunday too, and then
no, we're doing stuff for next week, right?
Yeah,
late nights with Lenin.
Late night with Lenin.
Okay, okay, we'll keep Monday night stream the way it is. Okay, never mind.
For this week we have to do Monday night stream because we have Rosaline talking about
I forgot.
Guatemala.
Okay, we'll keep, we're gonna keep Monday night stream the way it is. So check us out, and
so this week we'll be on Monday night at 7.
Yep, Monday night at 7.
Wednesday at 9.
Wednesday at 9 will be our summers with Stalin,
and then
Stalin summer or Soviet summer. I don't know. We have to figure this out. And then Friday we will debut our first late night with Lenin as opposed to Sunday with Lenin, and see how that works. And with that, please subscribe, donate, be nice, volunteer to be a social media troll by like tweeting out every of our article, everything we do, wait, I don't even know my own URL. Oh boy, okay, somebody put the right URL so I don't like mess this up. But and if you know web design, I have a really fun, hilarious, top secret troll project that I really need you for. So hit us up if you know web design. And the thing is that do not tell me to use Squarespace, please. That just drives me nuts. So if you are come if you are willing to just like take over every design aspect of like making this website. It's going to be really fun once you realize what it is. It's like going to be worth every second.
And I just want to mention that Toast said I'm just going to call him Toast instead, because he says, just call me Toast. So he said this was actually from Hong Kong, so that South China is actually a Hong Kong.
Yeah, okay. Did I say Taiwan? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know if you said either one, but
okay.
he just wanted to mention it was from Hong Kong. So
Jimmy Lai is in Hong Kong. Okay, he's right. I'm sorry if I said Taiwan.
All right.
That, we bid you adieu, and this is going to be fun.
It will be
fun. And bye bye.